an ambulance goes by here, you definitely will hear it.
Welcome to Playfully Orange. My guest today is Flynn Dobbs. We're talking about arts and culture here in Central Florida. Welcome, Flynn.
Hi, Terry. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you for having me.
You look like you're in your gallery.
I am. I am College Park Gallery, right in the heart of downtown College Park on the corner of Smith and Edgewater.
And this is your gallery. So let's find out a little bit about you. Um, how did you come to this? What's your path to being a gallery owner?
So I was fortunate enough to grow up in a home of two very, very talented, large-scale monumental figurative sculptors who have done works all over the country. So I was really born into the arts, and thankfully, they wanted us to grow up into a city with a large appreciation for arts and a lot of room for growth as well. So my parents settled here from the Midwest back in the 70s, and I was born. Basically, it's kind of always a part of my life here in Central Florida.
So were your parents traveling to do art in different places, and did you go with them?
I never went as a child, no. But my mom's studio is actually at her home, so she's always been creating large-scale works for commissions that were always transported elsewhere. Her largest sculpture to date is here in Central Florida over at a basilica in Lake Buena Vista that's about 22 feet tall.
And are you an artist yourself? Have you sculpted?
I grew up kind of doing a little bit of everything, but once I was kind of in that decision whether I wanted to go into art school or I wanted to, kind of do something else, I really had a passion for the more business side of the arts because I felt my parents' voices as artists were never really represented as thoroughly as they should be. And I thought it would take somebody like me that could kind of be an advocate for the artists.
Nice. Nice. That is really important because art is a business.
Yes, well, sometimes if you make it to be, absolutely. But Florida State thankfully had the best art history and museum studies program in the state. And when Frank Holt actually was the curator over at Manello, I was interning when I was 17. And I kind of would sit in on his exhibitions when he was curating and kind of bug him until he would talk to me and kind of give me some advice. So he really did kind of guide me into where I should go to school, what I should study, what I should major in, and then which internships I should be focusing on. So I have a lot of respect for the guidance he gave me.
I like you using the term "bug Frank" because that's kind of
Well,
you did relate to people do
yes,
relate to Frank. They kind of bugged him.
I definitely bugged him, and I was just a very young, very energetic 17-year-old girl.
Well, have you traveled and explored the arts, visual arts in other cities?
Oh, of course, yeah. All the time, I think it's important no matter where you go to always try to incorporate art into your travels, especially public art, which is obviously has a huge place in my heart. And no matter where you go, of course, in Europe, there's public art on every single corner, which is always my dream for us in Orlando to have more public art everywhere. But absolutely, I think traveling and getting to experience any type of local artist, even if it's just a small gallery, should be on your itinerary when you travel.
What would you say is one of the most memorable things that you've encountered?
Gosh, I was in I was in Spain last year and I got lost. I didn't have my cell phone wasn't working, my internet my service wasn't working at all, and I only remembered how to get back to where I should be based off of these monumental sculptures. So there's like a Botero right next to me, and then there's a very modern artist, and so I kind of guided myself back to my Airbnb just based off of the public art. That's kind of how I figured out the rest of the trip.
Is there any particular piece of art somewhere that's like that has made the most impression on you?
Oh, goodness. Well, I studied abroad in France when I was in college, and it was just a Sunday afternoon when I took the train over to the Louvre, and everybody is standing next to the Mona Lisa, pushing the crowds, everyone's pushing each other, and I turn my head over and I see a Caravaggio that just was
one of probably the most impactful pieces of art that I learned about when I was in art history school, especially with tenebrism and the dramatic kind of emotion that this artist was able to draw just by kind of manipulating the colors of a painting. It was just unlike anything I've ever seen before. And I turned around and I just started crying, and I just stood there for 25 minutes, and everyone thought I was a crazy person, but I didn't care. I loved it. And then, well, all the Sundays that I was there during school, I just kept continuing to go visit that painting, and it really has had such a good place in my heart.
I imagine it was a little bigger than the Mona Lisa.
Absolutely. Just a little bit bigger.
All right. Well, so you've been in Central Florida basically all your life, but going elsewhere. I imagine you've seen things change here.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I was attended a an event with the Mayor Buddy Dyer a few weeks ago, and he said something really that resonated with me. That Orlando is like a teenager, that we are not really sure what we want to be when we get older, but we're like in such a prime molding part of our brains as a community in Orange County as a whole. And I really resonated with me because it's true. When I was younger, I felt like there was only pockets of Orlando. You'd have to drive to these places, but Orlando is so vast and so big now that no matter where you go, you can find a lot of our particular like city's voice and our county's voice all throughout Orlando, which is really beautiful to see, especially coming from here. It's not just orange fields and Disney anymore.
Right. Um, what's one thing that you wish we had here?
I would love more public art, and that's one of my major goals. Is I think we do a really good job, and you do a fantastic job with your council. It's something that it's not something that you can just blink your eyes. It can happen. It's something projects take years and years and years, and I don't think a lot of people in the community know that. So of course, I know there's a lot of things in the pipeline for Orlando when it comes to public art. I'm just eagerly waiting to see them happen.
And would you say you have an affinity to sculpture as opposed to murals or mosaics or paintings?
No, I mean I do love sculptures, obviously, but and no matter what the medium is, and I always think it's good to appreciate if it's like a little piece of an artist kind of putting themselves out there for the world to see, no matter what it is.
Well, how has it been having a gallery?
It's been great. I was a little intimidated when I first started, coming from a corporate gallery here in Central Florida that I adored and I was so comfortable with for over 5 years, to starting my own thing and trying to hopefully that the community was going to support. And I have just in this building alone, my support system. Jim Hobart is my business partner with Macbeth Studio, which is also located here where the gallery is in the back. And he's been just such a cheerleader for the arts and the artists and everything that has to do with adding culture into the community. So with him by my side, it's been such a beautiful experience. And we are a very event-driven space rather than more of like a daily gallery, which you can come and visit. Our events are always busy, always happening, but we are here on a daily basis. So if you do see dogs in the window, you know that I'm here. Absolutely.
So dogs are part of your personal aesthetic?
Of course. I think dogs should be around all the time.
I see. And have you found a patron base to support the gallery?
I have. Well, like I said, all of my jobs have been in the art industry, except for a restaurant job when I was in high school. Other than that, it's been here involved in the arts. And I do think that we have a good core group of people that will come out and support the artists, no matter what, if it's just a landscape or if it's something very modern, like these J. Bond pieces that I have here in the gallery, which are made out of rope. We always seem to be able to connect the artists with buyers. And I'm very thankful that we can do that for them.
Well, that's great. Well, we appreciate your having a gallery and bringing art to us and your passion for public art. So thank you for that, and thank you for speaking with us today.
Thank you very much.
And we want to
Take
thank you
care.
for watching this issue of Playfully Orange. So go out and enjoy some art and ask for more public art.
I agree.